Hi guys, this is Melissa Rupert. I'm new to this, so I don't even know where the lens is on here. I think it's over here. Okay, I think I found it. I have a little bit of a cold today, so I apologize. Um, okay, so let's just get started. I was asked to make some like a some continued videos of our Vaxxed interview on the bus with Polly. Ian's not here today. He is playing with his cousins, but I do want him to be involved with this. And I plan on having many videos answering your questions. And I've actually been working with a lot of different people, and I seem to be answering the same questions. So I think if we can just get a few of these out here, the big major ones, and then I would like to make it a little bit more structured and really get the information out in a little bit more organized way. But for today, we're just gonna kind of have a talk. So I have some notes down here to try to keep me on track. So again, why we're doing this is to just get the information out that recovery is possible for neurological disorders and autism spectrum and the whole thing. There is recovery, and we are proof of that. Ian is recovered. He has no autistic symptoms anymore. And later I can go through the whole timeline and more diagnoses and things like that at another date. We'll get more specific into those details later. So I just want to get the message of hope out there, and so does Ian, that we see so many kids that the parents are just medicating them because the doctor says there's nothing you can do. And that's just not true. So if what we did, it can help, then we want to get the information out there. And I really do believe that what we did can recover or even just improve. And I don't want to make that sound like it's a small thing, because improvement is a huge thing. Any improvement is big with kids like these. So that's a little bit why we're doing this. So I encourage you to ask me questions. I'll do my best to get back with them. If you want a specific question for Ian, then please do that too. Okay, so let's go a little bit into who am I and what's my background. Like I said, I have a cold, so I'm sorry. I have a sinus thing going on right now, so I keep touching it hurts. So who am I? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and I'm not a nutritionist. I'll tell you I'm not. I have been studying nutrition and autism and vaccines and the whole connection since we've started having issues with Ian. And so he's 15 now, so I've been reading about that constantly in our own little mission. So I don't have any degrees or anything. When I was younger, I worked for some surgeons, so I do have a little bit of a medical background. I worked in the front office and in the back office, assisting him in small, office appointments. I did take medical careers classes in school. Most of my junior and senior year were all day long in the medical careers class. So I do have a medical background. And then when I went to college, I became a massotherapist or a massage therapist. So I do, and I was board certified. So I do have that background. I also have worked in some leadership positions and some programs in business, and I don't want to say mentoring, but being helpful to others who I've got a step above, and now I'm helping them get a step above. So I do have some leadership, training, and a lot of focus on the mindset to become a business owner and a leader and a mentor and those types of things. So the mindset, my education in medical is a big deal, but also my education in the leadership programs that I took, just with the mindset on goal setting and achieving what you set out to do. And I am a fiery Leo, and I am bossy, and you can't tell me no. I do whatever I want. And so I've been that way since I was young. And even when I worked for the surgeons, I would tell them they shouldn't be treating people the way they're treating people. So that's kind of a little bit about my background and my personality. Um, I am married, and you saw that in the Vaxxed video, our interview on the Vaxxed bus with Polly, and I will try to post this to the channel here, that to the channel. I'm not a very techie person, so I will do my best to post that if I can. But you did meet Rick on that video, and he's my husband. We've been married since 1999, and Ian was born in 2001. So we also have an older daughter and a younger daughter. So that's our family. So let's talk a little bit about Ian and his birth and his from the beginning. Let's just start at the beginning and walk our way through a little bit, those of you who are interested. So I had a very tough pregnancy with Ian. It was very different from my first one. My first one was easy, piece of cake. I was like, what are these women talking about? It was easy. No, Ian was very difficult. I lost weight when I got pregnant with him. I couldn't put weight on. I mean, it was just bad. I was sick so much. The doctors would give me nausea medication, which would make me even more sick. And, they would say, the medication they give me is fine. It's not going to hurt the baby. And eventually, throughout my history of them telling, even when in my younger years, to telling me, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, eventually I figure out it's not okay. So I've had quite a journey with pharmaceutical, and I have very strong beliefs on that. We no longer take any pharmaceutical drugs. We don't even take over-the-counter drugs. I have a cold right now, and I'm just doing herbal teas and chicken broth and, very natural stuff, honey and things like that. But I don't do over-the-counter drugs. I don't do antibiotics, and we don't do pharmaceuticals of any kind. That's now, but let's get back to Ian. So his pregnancy was very difficult. I was sick a lot. And when he was born, they decided to induce me because I was getting toxemia or something, like I was filling with fluids and it was bad. So they scheduled induction, and when I went in to do that, he was breech and did a somersault that night before and was breech. He did not want to come out. So things progressed during the day, and it was going bad for both of us. So we had an emergency C-section. So Ian was not born vaginally. That's number one. I want to make a note here. Number one, he was not born vaginally. And that's very important when you talk about the gut biome, because your first inoculation, if you want to say, to the bacteria that are actually helpful is when you go through the birth canal. Of course, I didn't know that then. So he was a C-section baby, did not get that, bacteria inoculation type thing through the vaginal canal. It was a very traumatic labor for us. Like I said, both of us almost didn't make it. We spent a week in the hospital, both of us, because our blood levels just would not stabilize, and every time we thought, okay, we're good, then something else would go wrong. And throughout that time, he would not nurse. I almost lost my milk in the hospital. I called the La Leche League or whatever the lady was and had her come in the very last day, and she's like, why didn't you call me at the very beginning? And she spent all day with me our last day trying to do everything we could to get Ian to nurse. I knew how to nurse. I had a baby before. We're a breastfed baby family. So I know how to nurse. I just couldn't get him to stay awake enough to nurse. And he was very lethargic. He had jaundice, and it just was a mess. And I don't know what they were feeding him back in the NIC unit. So I'm pretty sure that they did things I was not told about and not would never have agreed to. I believe that in the NIC unit that we decided we weren't going to circumcise him. And that's all personal choices, you guys. I don't want to get into any debate. But we had decided we're not going to circumcise him. And I believe that in the NIC unit, someone had retracted him. And when that happens, that rips all the adhesions apart. Any of you guys who know this stuff. And usually an uncircumcised baby will never get infections. But he had continuous infections, urinary tract infections. And I believe it was because someone had retracted him who didn't know what the hell they were doing. So he would get antibiotics. So now we're into the antibiotics. So not only did he not get the vaginal inoculation, he didn't get the colostrum that he should have gotten. And now he's getting antibiotics, which are wiping out his microbiome in his gut. So setting him right up for something bad, right? Okay, so let's jump forward just for a minute. So last year we had some genetic tests done with Ian and myself. And we found out that he cannot detox. There's a certain gene that is mutated. Both genes from mom and dad are mutated, and he's not able to detox. So now let's go back. So he has this genetic issue as a baby that he can't detox. And now they're going to start pumping him full of vaccines. So now his microbiome is destroyed. He can't detox. And now we're adding vaccines on top of it that he cannot detox. So he starts regressing. By 9 months, I had made notes that I had concerns of his regression. He was not acting like my first one. Things were not going right. He used to be laughing and interacting and excited to see me in the morning and wake up and, wanted to cuddle. And now he wasn't doing any of that. He was slowly, every month, it seemed like he was just regressing more and more. And I have notes that I had said something at 9 months. I may have said something before that. I don't know. Our pediatrician destroyed our medical records. They left the practice and destroyed everything. So I have no notes other than just what I remember and the few little pieces of paper I have. His wife, the doctor's wife, was my gynecologist, and she's the one who delivered Ian, and he was the pediatrician. And both of them left the business. I don't know why. I can only imagine. Both of them left their practices and destroyed records. So I have no records. Okay, so then at 9 months, he started to wean himself. Rick and I had gone on a trip, and I was pumping, and I pumped enough so that he could have, breast milk while I was gone. And by the time when I came back, he just was like, I don't know if it was just being away from the breast and it was a bottle now, or I don't know what it was, but once I got back from that trip, he just weaned himself. So that was about 9 months. By 12 months, he was completely weaned. So he started losing weight. The entire time, just so you guys know, what did he get? Because I'm going to get this question. I know, which vaccines did he get? He got all of them. He got all of them because the doctor lied to me and told me it was the law, and I had to, and I had no choice. Even though I went in with a book that I had read that I said, there were all these concerns, he disregarded it, said that doesn't apply to Ohio. Made me feel guilty. I would never do anything to harm your child, and I give my own children these and all this and that. And so call it what you will. But he lied to me. I felt like I was pressured and bullied and that I had no choice. So he got vaccinated all the way through his 18-month shots. There was one that was delayed because he was sick when I went in, and then they rescheduled it. So I do have a shot record, and I could pull that up and look and see the actual timing, and maybe we can do that again, do that sometime in a different video. That's the only thing I have, because the health department had that, because it was reported to the health. I have nothing from the office itself. So, so anyway, he got all his shots up to 18 months. And then, then there's that time span where there's like a little break in between until you get to kindergarten. And it was in that time span when we really started a mission on recovering Ian. But it didn't really start with the autism. It started with his nutrition because he was losing weight fast. He was in the 50 percentile when he was breastfeeding, and he was below 5%, I would say, by 15 or 18 months, somewhere around there. To the point where I'm like getting so frustrated with the doctor, I'm like, screw you, I'm not coming back to you because you don't give a shit. So it was right around that time. So my child's losing weight fast. They don't care. They just want me to put him on Pediasure, which after I figured out it was horrible and too expensive, we stopped. But he did get a big amount of that over those few months, between 9 months and 18 months. So we started looking into food because my mission then was just to feed him. He was starving. He was wasting weight and nothing. I mean, when's it going to stop? So it wasn't really to recover Ian. I knew he had these issues, but it was more to feed him healthy food. A child that doesn't want to eat anything but crackers and chicken McNuggets, what am I going to feed him? That has no nutrients in it. So that was my mission, was learn to feed him and get him to eat something. And along the way, we recovered his microbiome, and he started to get better from the autism. Not only did he start, being healthier and putting on a little bit of weight, his symptoms started to disappear, and he started to come back. So, and we also did the Sunrise program, and I know some of you have questions about that too. So I just wanted to tell you let's just stop there for now. And then I'm going to make a video about a few questions that someone has asked. So that's kind of like our getting started, and who I am and our timeline up until therapies start. So that was the mission. That's our foundation for our missions. And then we're going to get into more of what happened during those missions and what we did. And I will give you every little bit of information I have. Like I said, I've been studying about this since, Ian was little, and I continue. I don't read for enjoyment. I read for learning. I mean, I'm constantly reading to learn. Oh, I wanted to show you the books. Okay, real quick. Okay, so I have like 5 books here that if I would to get only 5 books in my life to help my kid, it would be these. Okay, so this is the first one. Let's see if you guys can see it. This is Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon. This was the first book I got. This is the book that's going to help you recover their microbiome. It's going to help you get nutrients in them, and it's going to show you how to do that. And we'll go into this a lot. I'm going to talk about this a lot. Okay, so that would be one. It's a pretty big book, okay? It's a cookbook, but it's full of information too. It's kind of all in one, okay? Then there's this one, which is, she might have a newer edition now. I don't know. I know she has more books, but this is the one I've used for Ian. The Body Ecology Diet by Donna Gates. Oh, I'm covering up her name. By Donna Gates. There it is. This is also kind of go with, actually when I read the Nourishing Tradition book, it talked about fermenting foods, and I wanted some more recipes and more, different things to do for fermenting foods, and that's how I found this one. So these all go along really, really well together. They're like meant to be together. So that one. This one, okay, is the next one. This one, if you guys have all heard, I'm sure you guys have all heard of gluten-free, casein-free diet. This is the beginning of that. This was the original diet. They took the gluten-free, casein-free portion of this diet and kind of commercialized it. Now there's all sorts of foods out there that are gluten-free, and that's great. But they missed this whole diet. The gluten-free, casein-free diet isn't the whole diet that it was meant to be. It's this one. And this book is extremely good at explaining the microbiome. This one is like really great. It breaks it down so easy. It's got pictures. My books, okay, so my books here, you can tell, I highlight them, I mark them up, you know. I write notes in them. I fold pages. They're my textbooks, okay? So that one. Okay, then this one is to help understand what our kids are thinking. What's going on in that brain when they're so quiet and introverted, or, you know, within their own world, not even introverted. Or if they act out and they're having a difficult day. What is happening in their brain? This book, I feel, is really, really important to understand what happened, what's happening, where the strengths are, where the weaknesses are, how to work with those, how to strengthen those weakened areas, how to test for it. You can even do your own little home test to figure that out in this. This book is great. And I don't think this guy believes vaccines cause autism, but I don't care. I don't care what somebody else believes. If something's going to help my kid, his expertise is not his opinion. His expertise is how the brain functions. Okay, so I know his opinion is what it is, and I don't agree with it either. But this is what he's had success in. Okay, so just get past it. I know. Just get past it and read this. Okay, because you need to understand what's happening in their brain and where the weaknesses are, so you know what to do to fix them. Okay. He has another book out. This is the one I've read. I haven't read the other books, but this is Disconnected Kids by Dr. Milello. So the other book, okay. I don't have the other book, but I wrote it down. I used to have it. I gave it to the library when we decided to move. It's called Sunrise. Okay, it's the first program we did, the first therapy program we did with Ian. It's called Sunrise. Sun, like your son and daughter. Okay, not the sun in the sky. Sunrise. Okay, I know it's like a play on words, right? Sun, S-O-N, rise. Okay? So it's called Sunrise, The Miracle Continues by Barry Neal Kaufman. Sunrise, The Miracle Continues by Barry Neal Kaufman. Okay, that is, I talk about that also on our Vaxxed video. And brain balance, which is, I talk about that briefly. Just, I say, do you know brain balance? And Polly says, yeah. Brain balance is this one. Sunrise is the Sunrise book. And those were the two therapies we did, really, with Ian. Sunrise was the first one, because it's a little bit more for the children who are a little more severe. Brain balance is more for when the kids are participating, when you can direct them and they'll do it. So you need participation with the Sunrise, you need participation with the brain balance program. So they have to be able to take a little bit of direction. Even if it's just fun stuff, they have to be able to listen to you and look at you. The Sunrise one, they can be in their own little world, and that's where that program comes in, is the Sunrise. How to get in that little world of theirs and get them to come out and be in our world. Okay, that's what that book is about. Okay, so those are the books. This has gone on for a little too long, so I'm going to stop now. And we will make another video, and you guys can tell me what you think, what you want to know. Just comment below and subscribe. I know they always say that, subscribe and comment below. So I think when you subscribe, it flags you when I put another video on or something. So thank you so much, and I'm hoping to have Ian here on the next few videos. Okay, see you guys later. Bye.